Hello, welcome to our presentation. We are CR Retail. We are a Costa Rican warehouse distribution system with operations in Central America. Recently, we started operations in the Caribbean and South America. Now, our business is distribution. All the products we sell come from our Asian-based manufacturing partner. As for today's agenda, we will present the assumptions we used to build our model, the actual modeling we used to resolve the business proposition, an overview of the scenarios we evaluated with all the varying parameters. Then we'll show the results and present recommendations. Finally, we'll show the validation of the model. As for assumptions go, we know a model is as good as the assumptions it is based on. We use them to adapt the model to the way the industry works. For instance, we receive clients and dispatch products throughout the year, every day, every hour, non-stop. Also, whenever a shipment arrives at a port, we inspect and remove a small fraction of the units, due to them being damaged during transit. This happens at every port. Finally, orders placed on the same day will only pay the ordering fee once, regardless of how many countries are included in it. Now, let's take a look at the model we developed to simulate our business. It breaks down to three phases: the demand, the inventory revisions, and the arrival of shipments. Our demand. We receive clients on an hourly basis at each of the 6 countries where we operate. As they arrive at our warehouses, we do our best to supply their orders. We keep track of every unit we sell, so we must update our inventory levels after each sale. Also, we keep track of the units we couldn't sell due to a lack of stock. Let's look at the processes which simulate the behavior of the demand. Every day, the timer daily demand triggers the process calculate today's demand, which for every country evaluates a demand for that day based on the demand distribution given. Then it is divided by 24 and started to be used later as an hourly demand. Now, every hour, the timer hourly demand triggers a process create clients, which spawns a client for each of the 6 countries. They will visit the local warehouse and request a number of units based on the hourly demand calculated above. Finally, when the client reaches the warehouse, the process apply demand is triggered. If the warehouse has enough inventory to fulfill the client's request, it is supplied completely. Otherwise, the request is supplied partially with as much inventory as it is available. The number of units not sold due to lack of inventory are registered as unserved demand. Now, let me show you how it looks like. As a logistics company, we want to find the best inventory management strategy to maximize our profit. We experimented with periodic revisions at various time intervals, as well as continuous revisions. That is, we check the inventory levels whenever a unit is sold. Whenever the inventory level is below the reorder point for a given country, an order must be placed. The amount to order is equivalent to the economic order quantity. Both of these values were calculated based on the demand and lead time distributions for each country. And now back to the processes. Depending on which inventory review strategy is active, we may be going with a periodic check or with continuous ones. In case we're doing periodic checks, the timer check inventory levels triggers the process with the same name. Otherwise, the process is triggered after every sale. For each country, the process compares the current inventory level against the reorder point for that country. If the inventory is lower, then we need to place an order. After all countries have checked their inventories, the process try make order is triggered, which triggers another process called make order to Asia. This process then registers each country's order to the Asian provider as pending to be supplied. Further down the line, the timer sends shipments from Asia, will review the pending orders and will send ships to every region based on its shipping policies. Now, let's see how it looks like. And finally, let's go through how our 6 warehouses are restocked. As our provider ships set sail and reach a local port, we check and discard the damaged units. The rest are unloaded and increase the warehouse's inventory. As for the process behind this, Ships from the provider set sail as described previously. The travel time is quite large, but as the shipments reach the local port, the process load received is triggered. This process calculates a fraction of the load to be considered defective, based on a uniform distribution. That fraction of the units is discarded, while the rest of the units are added to the local warehouse's inventory. Let's now see it in action. Since the company has expanded to new markets, it is important to consider ways to grow so we can keep up with the demand of our customers. The current model provides a constraint that we may wish to eliminate, and that is that placing a new order is very expensive, and we cannot request shipments for the same region more than once every week. As part of the value proposition for this presentation, we have evaluated an alternative to the current infrastructure. By opening a regional distribution center, we may keep enough inventory there to supply our warehouses in all 6 countries. This will allow us to place fewer orders to our Asian manufacturing partner. At this time, we have considered Miami and Panama as candidates to host a regional distribution center. Of course, to be able to evaluate the alternatives for the distribution network, it was necessary to compare different scenarios with our own parameters to find the best setup. We evaluated having the regional distribution center located in Miami, then in Panama, then without it at all. Then, for each of the 3 cases, we applied different inventory review strategies, continuously, periodically every 1, 3, 5, and 7 days. All this to ensure we could find the best scenario for the company. By analyzing all of the scenarios, it was clear that the best option is to keep operating without a regional distribution center, but with a continuous inventory check strategy. We jumped into this conclusion by comparing the profit we got from each of the scenarios. As expected, the ordering cost decreased when having the regional distribution center located either at Miami or at Panama. The service level also raised, as the local warehouses spent less time out of stock. However, the total cost increased as a result of the expensive operating costs in the regional distribution center. As a result, having no regional distribution center proved to be the best option. To ensure that the results found are valid, it is necessary to check if the model's logic works correctly. If the difference between the theoretical values and the generated ones is negligible, we can be sure that the logic is correct. We have validated the demand for each country, as well as the shipments and their arrival times. We have verified that the income and all costs are correctly applied. Finally, by looking at the table, we can observe that the difference between the experiment's average and the theoretical mean is also negligible. Thus, the model is valid and so are the results found. Well, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed our presentation. Thank you very much. Goodbye.